Hey everybody, welcome to the Two Dads Review podcast. As always, if you are here for the American Horror Story portion, just stay where you are, don't touch anything. And if you're here for the Star Trek Discovery portion of our podcast, jump to the 48-minute mark. See you there, and enjoy. All right, everybody, we are back. The Two Dads Review podcast is up and running. It is the penultimate podcast of the shows that we are currently reviewing, American Horror Story Cult and Star Trek Discovery. Not really for Discovery because it's only the mid-season break, but somehow we lined it up perfectly that both shows end on the same week. So that helps us line up, things for the future. Real quick, my name is Clay. I'm one of the two dads, and across from me is the other dad,
Corey. I am right here paying attention.
Or partially, at least. He's like, he gets rambling and I could just tune out for like 2 minutes straight.
Sometimes I get enveloped with what you're talking about. Like I've already told you this, like when you get to going scene by scene, like we get to go, and then especially during Star Trek when you break into something, I almost slip out of being a co-host and into like an audience guy, like listening to it. I'm like, yeah, tell me that little detail. Nope. Keep going, keep going, keep going. So sorry. Yeah, I'm entranced.
I just like leaving long, awkward pauses for you. Oh man. Okay. So, we will jump into our American Horror Story portion of our review and recap session here real quick, but we'll jump, to our quick admin notes for everybody. You can always head on over to twodadsreview.com. You can find us there. You can find links to all the locations that we broadcast the podcast. Those being Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and TuneIn. You can also find the link to our YouTube channel where we put up the podcast as well with a nice little picture to go along with the quote unquote video, but it's just us talking. There's nothing new to it. We don't record it. There's no way you want to see this yet. You can also check us out on the Two Dads Review subreddit. Just search under that. You'll find us. I just post the links to the website there as well. Get on there. Talk to us. Post something there. Have a conversation between everybody. Who knows? We'll see what happens. And then mostly you can find us on Twitter at Two Dads Review as well. So just we're at Two Dads Review anywhere you want to find us. That's just the way we've done it. That's just how it goes. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Corey does a little bit of streaming over on Mixer. I've been trying to retweet every time he talks about it. He's shooting people and having fun over there. So, what are you playing right now?
I'm playing Rainbow Six Siege. That's pretty much what I'm addicted to.
Is that all you streamed this week?
No, I did the new World War II Call of Duty, and I've done FIFA 18. So I got all the new stuff. And I play that, but the guys that I've kind of ran into that I met on Mixer, like we all play Siege together and stuff. So, and most of the people that I played with in the group I've met through like audience members. So I try to interact and like hang out and have fun and meet new people and, do it that way. Be the good old guy. Like, hey man, I'll actually talk to you. I don't mind being in a party with you.
Well, that's good stuff. So I guess I've always been, for anybody who doesn't know, Corey and I and a group of our friends go back, I don't know, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, maybe, I think is when we all started playing together.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
I think it's when I know I wasn't around for the first, for the initial Modern Warfare. I just hadn't gotten all the right systems yet. But we played pretty good for a long time, and then kind of fell off when like kids and all kinds of other stuff ruined our lives. But okay, so Call of Duty kind of kept moving forward, and then it like jumped the shark, and we were like in space for the last one, which I didn't even buy. What's your initial impression of World War II, going back to the roots?
I haven't even played the story mode yet because I heard you can do a co-op story mode with it.
Oh, wait till Christmas. I may have to pick that up.
So, so I was going to try to do that with Aiden. And See how that goes. But I've been playing online, and like it's fun. I mean, it's the same thing: run around, shoot them, run around, shoot them. You know, get shot a bunch.
Right. Nothing groundbreaking, but don't fix what ain't broke.
Yeah, like I just like I've been playing online, and I guess like the graphics just. I don't know. I haven't been in the story mode yet, so I don't know if they're better in the story mode. But like online, they just kind of seem subpar to me. But but I've also been playing Rainbow Six Siege, which is a very detailed game. So I don't know if it's just because of the amount of detail they put into that game versus the insane magnitude and detail that went into Call of Duty. You know, like if I'm just jaded.
Does everything feel? Does it feel like, you know, for the longest time it was just recoding the same stuff and just putting new skins on top of it? No, here's a new map. Does it feel like they've started from the ground up again, or do you think they just pretty much copy and paste and went back to World War II?
I don't like. I mean, I don't feel anything's different. Like, I'm so happy that like the double jumping is gone, you know, and like that weird space thing, you know, like, no, you're a soldier, keep your ass on the ground. Like, if I wanted a superhero game with guns, I would have someone invent a superhero game with guns. Like,
or just go play Halo.
Yeah, or go play Halo, yeah, where I can float for, 35 feet.
Well, good. That's good to hear. Yeah, let me know how you'll have to let me know how it goes with Aiden, because then I may have to play it with you at Christmas time.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll definitely do that.
That's something I've been wanting so bad in a lot of these games, is that, you know, they build this multiplayer in for like us to get in there with a whole bunch of 12-year-olds who apparently have fucked all of our moms. I just want to play the story mode. In fact, I think it was Rainbow Six, an older Rainbow Six, that had the last co-op story mode that I've played, I believe.
Yeah, that was always that was Rainbow Six, like Vegas and stuff like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
It was Vegas. Yep, that's exactly. And I played that one with a buddy of mine and loved it. But you could never get it from Call of Duty. I want one where like I can sit on the mic with my friend across town and be like, okay, we're gonna go in this room and we're gonna do this shit. We're gonna do it right. You know, that's what I'm talking about.
You'd probably like Ghost Recon Wildlands then, because like that's a tactical one where you gotta like go with your buddies and kind of like. Go like, and you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. You can go, all right, man, we're going like you snipe from the helicopter. I'm parachuting in, like yada yada yada. So,
right.
And now it has like a 4v4 online, so it's pretty cool.
Cool, yeah, because I have all the time in the world for that kind of stuff.
Hey, whatever.
I gotta pick like the one winner and just go with it.
I'm just letting you know what's out there.
Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Enough of the folks who, hopefully we didn't lose too many folks who don't play video games and listen to our show. I know some folks have always begged us to talk about more video game stuff. And as things come out, you know, it's Christmas time, so all the new stuff starts dropping. And we'll try to bring stuff in here and there that we're talking about, that we're playing. We'll let you guys know what we like and what's working well for us. But anyways, let's jump into American Horror Story, Corey. We are almost done with this season.
I know, right? The home stretch.
Could not happen sooner. It could not happen. It could not come any faster. Did you like this episode?
It was all right. I mean, again, there's nothing amazing about it.
I know.
You like get to see like. I mean, I guess it was supposed to be the episode of Kai's descent into madness, because he's definitely fucking bonkers now.
Yeah, but he's lost it.
You know, like, and I know there was the kind of prequel stuff to his like slapping saga to where it all began, right? Like, and all of a sudden he's like, from there on, he's like, I'm slapping the hell out of everybody, man, open handed. That's how we're doing it.
Like I said, I think I tweeted at you last night. I was like, we need to make our compilation of everybody getting smacked the shit out of them. Like, just there's been at least a dozen or more this entire season, and it's like we should just have like just a montage of it. It'll be great.
Yeah, there was a lot of slapping in this series.
Yeah, I tweeted at you at the first one last night, and then there was like at least one or two more before the show was over, and I was like, Jesus, we'll just keep adding them on. Okay, so let's jump into the story of this episode. We start with we're jumping back in time again. I mean, and it's like I want a cut of this show of this season that is in chronological order, and I think it will be just as crazy, if not more crazy, if we just quit jumping back. I can't even remember what's going on anymore. You know what I mean? So we jump back to the final presidential debate, like even before the start of the very first episode.
Yeah.
And it's Trump and Hillary are on the TV, and Kai is on the computer in the background, and Winter and a couple of her friends are sitting on the couch watching the debacle that was the the debates as they happened last year. And I don't know, the girls had some pretty good quips about, this must be what I think they said. This is what black people must have felt like when Obama was going to win it.
Yeah, right.
They're just so sure that Hillary was going to win it, and Kai decides to speak up in the background. He's like, you guys are crazy. He's awakening something in the nation or something like that. And I was like, man. And the girls start giving him shit, and he at the end of it all, like, after the girl gives him so much shit, he just smacks her across the face.
Yep, slapped her after she was threatening him to give him hand jobs and
betting him that.
What she betting him that
she's like, I if Trump wins, I'll let you can fuck all three of us.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like, hey.
That's right. Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ, man, those are some aggressive bets. That's like what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, on this show, it's not. It's it's just a normal Tuesday.
Yeah, right. They're like, oh, hey, man, what's up? It's lunchtime.
Yeah, here, have a nice day. But yeah. So we find out that after he slapped her and she's pressing charges, of course, he's sentenced to some anger management, and lo and behold, his anger manager is Bebe Babbitt from Lena Dunham's Valerie Solanas cult, the very last member, the old lady that we saw a few episodes ago. So now we see when she first came to Kai or whatever, and we realize that she is the leader. She is who's driving him this whole time.
Yeah, so she thinks.
Well, true. I mean, she does. She was still thinking until she didn't have any more brains to think about. But it's not like Kai did it. It's not like Kai had the power to do it. He did. He wasn't the one that ended up doing it. Later on in the episode, killing her. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She's running him. He is breaking down. She's trying to keep him together, but it's not like he's going to stand up to her, and he doesn't ever up until when she dies.
Yeah.
Are you not? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
But I mean, like, Kai had already turned on her. Like, that's why he had his whole fucking rant at the goddamn inn. Like, she just got his foot in the door.
When did he turn on her, though?
I mean, basically from, like, you could tell that, because, like, I don't know how much time has passed since, like, they've jumped around, but when he was arguing with her, like, you could tell that had been built up for quite some time.
True. I'll give you that much, but I still think that he didn't. I don't think he had it to stand up to her more than just the rant he was going on, but it's not like he was going to.
Well, we don't know that. We never were given the chance to know that.
Agree. Well, she was about to blow his friggin' head off, so he was about to let it happen. He didn't know that Allie was behind her. We were jumping so far ahead, but that's okay. I don't mind talking about this now.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but like, because she just came in and was quick draw McGraw and was like, blah, like, we don't know what was going to happen.
Well, agreed, but he was on his knees, and she had the bullet. She had the, she had the gun to his head, and it was going to be over. She was on the way. If she hadn't felt like monologuing beforehand, she'd have killed him right there before Allie came down the stairs. So, I don't know. I felt like just she was leading him, and all the stuff we saw before this, seeing that she was involved with him beforehand makes more sense. I mean, it does. He didn't just magically put her and the girls together.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, like I get that. Like, I mean, I understand that. I'm just saying, from the time he decided the girls were going against him, like when he started losing his brain, like that's what I'm saying. Like, she didn't have control over him anymore or anything like that, and he was definitely doing whatever the hell he wanted to do.
Right.
You know, because she comes in and she's like, you know, you were supposed to let the feminine rage out, and like she's upset about that, but it's also kind of like everybody's mad. You know,
yeah.
like how, like,
well, I mean,
like, I don't know, I'm just saying in general, okay? Like, let's say you were tasked with bringing out, how would you ever just bring out one specific population or group of people to like be like, she was like, only women, dude, only women.
Oh yeah,
like,
she was stuck on that.
Like, how are you ever gonna say only men or only women? Like, just go make that group mad. You know, like, I don't know how, like, because there's always gonna be someone that defends them, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, that sides with the side that's being attacked. Like, I just don't know how she expected it only to be this.
Well, it's not like it doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, I know. Like, I guess that's what my problem is. I'm trying to make sense of something that can't be made sense of.
Possibly. Yeah, I just don't, I don't know. I'm not even sure what tangent we're on now, but I don't know. It was just, now I'm stumped. I don't know. We'll think about it. We'll get down to it. But yeah, we see that she's driving him and she's approaching him and bringing him up and making him believe that what he's believing is, you know, has merit and things can be done with that. When she's talking to him in his anger management stuff. And then she does the whole turd thing, makes him call himself a turd.
Yeah.
So,
and I just think Kai, being Kai, like, yeah, maybe he broke down, but Kai is always about Kai. So, like, I just don't feel like when he was saying, like, I'm an abject turd, like, he was meaning it. He was just like, nah, man, I'm going to say what I need to say just to see where this goes, because I went to that weird murder house thing. So, obviously, he'll just go, like, kind of go along with things to see what the heck's going on.
True.
Like, I think it was more of a curiosity entertainment thing. And then the fact that it was her getting built up or building him up just fueled his curiosity even more.
Right. Possibly.
I guess given just from what I seen, like, I just don't feel like, but then again, as I was watching that scene, I remember going, what, does everybody just quickly fall under someone's spell in the show? Like, I was like, what does it just take a total of a chance encounter in 15 minutes to make these things happen? I was like, right, God
she's
damn.
The head alien.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I guess you're just supposed to expect that one scene sums up numerous
therapy sessions,
or how they went in general.
Yeah, but I mean, not to try to poke holes in plot lines or anything, but he had to hit that girl, go to, have her press charges, have court, and then also be sentenced to anger management all within a couple weeks, because the final debate is like a few weeks from election day, and election day we know he was already in the throes of mounting his stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's no way that but truthfully, that's probably more shitty writing than it is like, trying to fit all of that procedural stuff into a certain time frame. It just tells the story better, whatever. So it just happened in one sitting. I refuse to fight for these writers this season. I can't do it. I'm not going to. I'm not going to sit here and say.
That's what I was saying. Like, I was watching the scene and I was like,
"What am I seeing?
This is the first time they've met, and he's already like, yep, you're the kind of crazy I need. All right. Let's make this happen."
The worst. Okay. All right. So let's move on from her because you're right. We don't really know anymore. I can't, because they split the timelines up so much and because they've done so many things out of order, I can't remember half the time what happened when. So it's like, I don't even know anymore. So I couldn't tell you half of what the whole season did when it came to when people were introduced and when folks did what things anymore. It's just so convoluted after this many episodes. I can't do it. So we move on to his rally where his message has gotten out and there are now finally counter protesters who have heard what he's saying and they're mad about probably some of the things that he had voted for on the city council. So they're out there counter protesting his rally or protesting his rally he's holding, and poor Gary gets piss thrown on him and they pepper spray him in the face and we get to see milk slow motionly poured on Evan Peters' face.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, now it's just fan service for the ladies.
I like how he was like, I'm blind.
As a person who has been OC sprayed in military police school, there's a lot that he was doing a pretty good job. It's pretty painful shit.
Yeah, I can't imagine it feeling remotely good.
True. So he's back in his headquarters in his basement, and he's watching the TV. They're interviewing Herbert Jackson, who is the person he's running against for the Senate, and they ask him about Kai, and he's like, the only blue hairs I care about are the little old ladies who vote for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
he was like, yeah, whatever, man. This guy's not a threat, not a thing. He's nothing.
Right.
Yeah, he was so nonchalant about it. It was ridiculous. Like even his face, like his facial expressions were like priceless of like, oh, how are you talking about this jackass like right now? Like, come on, do you know who I am?
Right. And I wonder if part of Kai's descent into madness this episode is the fact that he can't just kill that guy and take his spot, because you've already killed one council member and taken his spot. If it happens to the next guy you're running against, people are going to start to see a pattern. Like, you can't just go do that.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's like one's not enough and two's too many.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well said. Write that down. Gather round, children. Daddy Corey's got some friggin' words of wisdom for you. Yeah, and it's like, it was, the people who are, he hasn't seen that much in his current stuff this season. He hasn't seen many people going against what he has to say. He's easily converted people. He's easily got them to do his bidding. He's easily gained what he wanted to gain as he was doing it. This is the first time where he's on such a bigger stage. He's got counter protesters, or he's got protesters of his rallies. He's got people that are just blatantly don't give a fuck about him. They're like, who is this guy? Who is this jackass? Like, and I think that's part of what plays into what happens at the end of this episode, where he's just losing his mind. Like, it's over. Like, he just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, which is funny because he kind of might be right this whole time.
Oh, please explain that, because I have no clue what you're going at.
Okay, well, like, the whole time he's like, the feds are watching me. The feds are watching me. And then at the very end of the episode, you got the guy yanking the wire off his chest, Speedwagon. Mm-hmm. Like, so, how justified is his paranoia?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, or how much is he actually getting away with, right?
Yeah, right. Like how much is, like, they're letting happen, or is this all on a thing and he's onto it, but no one else realizes that he's on, like, that it's actually happening, and it just makes him look like he's bonkers. True.
Yeah. I liked the fact that, and I feel bad because I've been making fun of Speedwagon like so hard, like the past few episodes, because he is the one who's just into it. He is the one who's like super crazy on top of all the normal crazy guys. He's like super crazy. So I wonder I'm sure next episode we're going to see a flashback of when he was turned, or if he's like an agent. If he's an agent though, he was drinking that Kool-Aid. That dude's convinced or convicted to the cause. Well, he would have gotten shot if he didn't drink it. So I guess he was like, oh well. This is how I go.
Better bank that if I drink this, there's an antidote.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
I don't think he's this crazy. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure next episode we'll see how long he's not been in Kai's corner, because he's been the one who's been like, yeah, fuck him in the ass. I'm like, whoa, bro.
Yeah. Why? You're so aggressive, man. Calm down.
In fact, he's the one that yells that, like, and they're all like, yeah. I'm like, what? Wait, why are we gonna yell yeah for that? What are we doing?
Guys, hate to tell you, that's something you don't celebrate.
So the Senate guy blowing off Kai spurs one of his storytellings in sleeping bag, jammy time with the boys.
Which I love. I love the comments. Story time, that's my favorite. Like
they're like 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so we get the telling of the Manson family and the murder of Sharon Tate and the folks who were there the folks who were killed that night by the Manson family. It was really cool because we got to see Billy Eichner again, even though he got cut up a couple episodes ago. It was nice to have the actor back. That was cool.
You were like, yeah, man.
Yeah, we got to see Leslie Grossman, who played Meadow. We got to see her back for a little bit in that same scene, which was cool. And then Sarah Paulson and Billy Lord were playing characters as well in the story. And he just goes over the Sharon Tate murder, which is a highly famous murder that happened in the 60s, 70s, 60s. I don't know. I'm old, but I'm not that old. So I don't know the exact details. I did not look it up. You're welcome to look it up. Go Google it. It's very famous. But yeah, so he retells that story. I'm guessing it was fairly accurate. From what I understand, from what minor stuff that I know about the story, it seemed like it's pretty accurate. I knew she was pregnant. I knew they killed her and the baby and a few other folks that were in the house. So yeah, that was we've said this for weeks. The actors on this show are fantastic. So even though the flashbacks, I don't feel like are needed as much for the storytelling. I feel they're just filler a lot of the time, because it was like a 10. I mean, am I wrong, Corey? Was it like a 10-minute scene?
Yeah, if not longer.
Yeah, so it's like you're blowing a fifth of your time on just a story that in the long run doesn't help progress your plot. None of these stories about cults have helped. Just because your season is called Cult, if you wanted to tell, okay, all right, tangent time. Here we go. Everybody, pull the car over. If you wanted to do American Horror Story Cult and do it as like, let's go over these famous cults and like spend an episode or 2 per cult, like not even have anything in present day, just go over like Manson family and like the ones we did a few weeks ago, all that stuff. Like that would have been a cool season to like show how crazy these cults were already.
Yeah, that would have been pretty neat. I
mean, at that point, then you could have just retold history and you don't have to change this plot because they're all fucking crazy. So, I mean, that would have been a cool season. But I feel like we didn't get any of this until like a couple episodes ago. So you went through a half to 3/4 of your whole season without bringing up any other cults. And then all of a sudden you have the scum cult. And then you have, all the other ones they told last week. And it's like, why wouldn't we just do this the whole time? You just dropped it on us like halfway through, and now we're like, why are we looking at this? Why are we not progressing this plot that's actually finally getting somewhere? And then, we get cut off. So I don't know. I love watching the actors get to play around and have a good time, but what are you going to do?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I got nothing for you. You sound so defeated.
Yeah, I'm torn. I enjoy watching the actors do what they're doing and having a good time doing it, but it doesn't help with your plot of your season. of your 11 episode season. Like, what are we doing? Like, just if you didn't have the whole story, then just why did we doing this?
Yeah,
I feel like the writers got writing and realized they had like an 8 episode season. And they're like, we can't run an 8 episode season. This isn't Netflix. This isn't Stranger Things. We can't do 8 episodes. Like, we got to do 10 at least, if not more. And they were like, well, let's just do these fillers. Because you could literally cut those parts out and still have, you just wouldn't have as many episodes. You don't even need them. They're not really progressing the plot at all. Kai's not pulling anything from them other than literally exactly what they did, like Kool-Aid, and it's not even for real, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like, I mean, to me it looked like he was telling these stories and then, like, because they were his idols or something, and then all of a sudden Manson was in his brain and controlling him. It was like, what? Yeah,
Manson, suddenly now he's just seeing people, he's just seeing the cult leaders that he's telling stories about.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, the reason he told this story, what they tied it to in the current plot was that since Tate was pregnant when she was murdered, then they think they should send a message to Planned Parenthood because they're murdering babies. Like that's like, you don't have to, if you're right wing enough, you don't have to make Planned Parenthood the devil. They already think it's the devil. You know what I mean? So you're just fishing. Now you're just fishing for shit now. You're just trying to tie it together. So that's how it goes on. So Gary goes there thinking they're going to steal some names and addresses of women who are trying to get abortions. They break in the back and they lock him in there, and he's like, and then all the clowns show up.
Yeah, and he's like, what the hell's going on, guys?
That was like, and
it was a dick
move. I felt bad for him.
Yeah,
he loved it. He was once again, we're killing one of your biggest and would do anything for you people.
Yeah, I get like when you maybe sacrifice something like that, but the way the dude is sacrificing them
makes no sense.
Right? Yeah, like there's nothing beneficial. Right?
Not at all.
I'm struggling to find why why you would do it, like you're saying, dude, like those are your right-wing men and they're so dedicated to your cause that it would have been more beneficial, I feel like, for you just to keep them around.
Right. You've literally killed off or orchestrated the killing of your main core support of the cult, who literally would just end up being your sounding board and your echo chamber. Like, you kill Billy Eichner's character, Harrison, and you kill Gary, who are both like crazy supportive of you, and honestly not crazy. Like the whole jammy wearing bro code party. Like, those guys are all literally nuts. But like, those two guys, while they were broken people, they were perfect cult members because they were broken and they were fully into it with their eyes wide open without being like crazy. And that's not it's not, they are crazy, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Like, they were brought to the cusp of being broken, but yet fixed, like, by Kai in their mind. Like, right. So they were, now I guess you could say, felt like they were cut from the same cloth. Right.
And so that, when it comes to cult leaders and cult stuff, and you and I are the foremost expert on cults, those aren't the guys you kill off in your cult. You kill off the ones who are a little bit against, who aren't quite on board, but they're on board enough that they're hanging around. Those are the ones that you kill off, not the ones who are gung-ho for everything you stand for and willing to do anything you ask of them, including not fight when you get killed. Like, Gary was just like, okay, man. Like, I felt so bad for the dude.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, like, I just wish if you were going to sacrifice those guys, like, it would have been for something. This, I mean, to me, just, you got rid of them because, Why?
You're tired of CGing his arm off?
Yeah. I guess they were like, oh man, this green piece of cloth is running up the bill. We got to get rid of it.
Sorry, Gary's got to go, or he's got to put his hand in his pocket the entire time. And then you see Beverly out front doing the news report on the murder of Gary, who was positioned out front of the Planned Parenthood with his guts out with a sign that said, "Who cares?" I don't care what the sign said, truthfully. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Whatever dumb plot message they were trying to put on there, I can't do it. But Beverly is still... I want to say that she's still faking it, but I don't know. I think she's broken completely. Like, I think she was always my ace in the hole. Like, she could play the broken character. She could play the broken person for Kai, but really in the background, just be ready to like take that chance of like you just choke him out with a microphone or something. Like, she's just waiting for it.
No, dude, I think that time in the hole got her.
Yeah, I was hoping we were going to see it this week. I want to know where she was, what they did, because I think she is broken, and she's not even looking at the camera. You know, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, like she won't make eye contact with him. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and like the cameraman who's probably not in the cult, I don't think. Like he yells cut, and then immediately Kai's like smacks the mic in her hand, starts screaming at her. Like you'd think the guy'd be like, "Hey, man."
Yeah, right. Like, dude, you can't do that.
Actually, truthfully, if he saw the footage from the other cameraman getting murdered, I'd be like, I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, that's
like, I'm
right.
the cameraman. I'm just getting back in the van. Don't go help him. No.
Yeah, last guy that had this job did not end up too well.
That's correct. So let's see. Next we have Winter is cleaning the ice cream truck at night and sets off like the ice cream truck music and shit. And let's see, Allie shows up and they're like having like a heart to heart. Winter wants to know where Ivy is.
Yeah. That was that was such a good scene.
And I was like, are you really trying to have a heart to heart with your lover's wife? Question mark, exclamation point. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what do you expect her to say to you? Like, she is completely not going. You're not going to get it from her, man. And Allie's just, Sarah Paulson is just nailing it right now.
Oh yeah. Allie stuck it to her well too, though. Like what makes you think it was Kai?
Oh, I know. If something did happen to Ivy, what makes you think it was Kai? And then he just like smirks
and just walks away. Yep.
I was like, go ahead, girl. That's so great. And so following up on the next ladies, we're back at the Butcher on Main, and Winter goes to Beverly and is like, I bought you this train ticket to Montana. Like, you can get out of here. Like, you've got to leave here. It's not safe for any of us anymore. She's like, take the chance. And Beverly, this is where I think she is broken. She's like, do you tell what are they calling him now?
Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader? Like, what is this? Kim Jong-un? Like, who the shit goes by that stuff?
Some kind
Only
of crazy,
douchebags go that title.
Dictatorship.
And she's like, you tell the Supreme Leader I'm loyal to him. And so she thinks it was just, a test. But yeah. And from there we move to Kai like losing his mind, thinking everything's bugged in the headquarters, i.e. his parents' basement.
Yeah, and you got Allie totally fucking with him super hardcore.
she does. She's messing with him, and then like he goes into and she gets him so riled up. He goes into the old parents' bedroom, and like his brother starts talking to him, like his dead zombie brother.
Oh yeah, it just pops up, teeth all messed up and everything. He's like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Right, and then his dead brother's killed. Then his dead brother he's hallucinating is killed by a hallucination of Charles Manson.
Yeah, I love Charles Manson's explanation too. If you're gonna hallucinate about anybody, you should hallucinate about me.
That's pretty spot on. So they have a back and forth, and then Allie, he's just Kai and Manson have a back and forth, and then at the end of that, Allie shows up with what looks like a Fitbit. She's like, I found it. It's a bug.
Yeah, she's like, here you go. Look at this convenient little thing.
So good. And so, as Kai's losing his mind, Bebe shows up, his, grief counselor. No, he's not grief counselor. His anger management counselor / scum leader / leader of his actual cult. And she's accusing him of failing to ignite the rage of women because he's pissing everybody off.
Yeah, she was like, everybody's mad.
And so she's had enough of him. She draws her gun and he's on the ground on his knees. And she goes to shoot him, but then Allie pops up behind her and just blows her head off. Allie is she's just all into this, man. She's having the time of her life right now.
Yeah, she's like, you guys basically ruined everything, and I'm here, and so now I'm just gonna destroy you from the inside out.
Exactly. She is in her zone right now. That lady hasn't felt a lick of fear in about a week or two.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
loving
dude. She's the T-1000 at this point, man.
She is just on autopilot. She's like, I'm getting Oz, and I'm going to kill all these motherfuckers in the way.
Yeah, nothing bothers her, dude. She is not scared of a thing anymore.
Right. So then we have a obnoxiously long session because they were short on time for the show. I don't know. Of Winter cutting all of Kai's hair off, buzzing it down to a buzz cut, which I like a good buzz cut, so well done, sir. And then shaving him with a straight razor, because we all are like, oh, just cut his, like, Twitter could not tweet fast enough last night about, oh, cut his throat right now. It's like, oh, yeah, you guys are just playing into it. She's not going to do it.
Yeah, right.
There's
one episode left. We're not going to end it right now for him.
Right. We're not going to have like a wrap-up episode. No. I wouldn't put it past them. We weren't
it would be a wrap-up episode of flashbacks.
Yeah. So I do like... So you have some straight razors, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a couple too, and I even have like the super like 4,000, 8,000 grit whetstone you're supposed to sharpen them with, and I still can't get them sharpened enough to like do it fun, like to do it nicely. Like to make it a nice shave, so I just stick with like a safety razor. I'm as old school as I can get with like a razor blade that you screw into the safety razor, like that kind of old school. I can't go straight razor.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time I shave with the safety razor because it's just quicker.
Right.
Like, but I got straight razors that I like to use, and if I really need like a hard like straight line, or if I want to really get it close, and I don't want to and I want to. Like I said, it's more for making the lines, because I'll still screw up with the safety razor. Like, I'll go up too high or too low. Like, I like that I can make a nice long line with the safety or the straight razor.
Right. But when she was shaving him, I'm like, nope. It's not how you do it. Wouldn't be that fast. It's not in long straight stretches. It's like, God damn it, nothing about this is real at all.
Yeah, I was like, the whole time I kept going, why is she shaving against the grain? Why is she shaving against the grain? Why is she shaving against the grain?
Yeah. You can do that with Gillette. You can't do that with the straight razor.
Yeah, I was like, you're not even supposed to do that. That's the wrong way to do it.
And I also liked how he was putting on the shaving cream, and then you could see literally where they put him on the shaving cream, and then they had him shave his face, reapply the shaving cream, and then she was just shaving on his like smooth face. I was like, come on, guys. like that was readily apparent when he went from having shaving cream on stubble to shaving cream on a clean face, and she was just wiping the shaving cream off with the blade. I was like, come on, you guys have literally been CGing Gary's friggin' arm for weeks. Like, just give the guy some stubble. So he confronts her with the train ticket that she bought Beverly at the end of this long scene of nothing. And she knows that she's in trouble.
He's like, all right, yeah, that's cool. I'm just going to let you go. And she was kind of like, what? Really?
Right. And so we know that Allie has been feeding him she's fed Kai's delusion that Winter is conspiring against him. She planted a tape recorder in the van. that she was cleaning with Winter to use it like as evidence of her betrayal to him, and she's putting all this in front of Kai, and he strangles Winter to death, I guess. I mean, I guess she died.
I felt like I heard her neck pop.
I mean, something. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It was late last night. I don't know. I'm pretty sure she's dead. He's losing his mind. He's crying. Yeah, and some of the folks run out, and like you said earlier, Speedwagon runs out to the car, and immediately, like everybody does in any movie or show that they're, having problems about being a double agent, like rips off his wire and smashes it against the, not only are you trying to like get rid of the information that you've been doing, now you're spreading pieces of this equipment across the vehicle that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Smart move there, buddy.
Doesn't make much sense.
But as he's finishing, Allie just jumps in the car and she's like, "Hey, Speedwagon."
Yeah. And now I'm like curious, like what she's got planned for him now too. I'm like, oh man, she's got so many people on her hook.
Like she is so on right now. Mm-hmm. She is just firing on all cylinders. And so, yeah, that wraps the episode up. We have one more episode. They're going to take us somewhere next week. I don't know where. They're going to take us somewhere though.
They're going to take us on a time flashback through time.
Yeah, I'm going to get a stopwatch out and like if they do flashbacks, just count like put a timer to see how much of the hour-long episode is just flashbacks. It's just bad. But yeah, so that wraps our American Horror Story portion of the podcast. Do you have any final comments that you would like to put forth, sir?
No, it was an average episode that brought us closer to the conclusion, and I think the conclusion is what we've all been waiting for.
It's what we've been waiting for, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, remember, if you'd like to share us to your friends across your social media, like us, review us where you can. I know you can review on Apple Podcasts and a few other places. Feel free to leave us a review. If we get some good ones, maybe we'll read them on the air. You never know. But we always want to thank everybody who comes in every week and listens to us. We appreciate you guys coming back. If you are new here this week, welcome to the show. Yeah, we're going to be moving into movies for the month of December and part of November. It looks like. I think how did your poll come out on Twitter, Corey?
I think all of 2 people voted. I think
no, there was 4 at least. I saw 4 when I looked. And that was a day ago.
Okay, I'll have to check it again then, because I
think it was Thor though.
Yeah, it was Thor. I remember that.
Yeah, so we know Thor came out. So as of recording this, Thor came out last weekend. We still have one more week of reviews, of Star Trek and American Horror Story to do. But then during the holidays, we'll do Thor. We'll do what's the other one that's coming out? Oh, Justice League is coming out. We'll do Justice League. We'll do a review of that. And then we'll see what happens in the December timeframe. We got some stuff lined up, and we hope you guys tune in. But until next week, if you're only here for the American Horror Story podcast, thanks for listening. If you are here for the other half of it as well, the Star Trek portion will pick up right after this cut. All right, thank you to everybody who stayed on from the American Horror Story portion of our podcast, and thank you all who jumped to the estimation of the time stamp at which this portion starts. It feels like it was a really long break, Corey.
Yeah, it was a little one. Almost like it was overnight.
Yeah, almost like we did it the next morning. But hey, maybe we'll be more upbeat and awake this time. And I'm not drinking, so I may actually be able to enunciate by the end of this all. So we are ready to do the Star Trek Discovery episode 8. Episode titled Vis Pacem Bellum. I'm sure I murdered that Latin, but do you know what that stands for? Do you know what that means in Latin, Corey?
I have no idea.
It means
dead language.
No, I don't know that shit off the top of my head. Is it not? It is, if you want peace, prepare for war, is what it stands for.
Okay.
So, kind of the overarching idea that we hear from a lot of people in the show is, nobody wants to be, other than Lorca, nobody wants to be at war. Nobody is happy they're doing what they're doing, and they know that they're all striving for peace, but you've got to win first, or at least find a common ground. So, yeah, it's a, that's just the title.
Yeah, so the title pretty much lays out the episode, like far better than other titles.
Very true.
Like this one actually kind of feels like if you just said that and then you went and watched the episode and you knew what it meant, you'd be like, oh man, this title was like just a fancy way of describing the episode. I kind of feel like it's The Thing, where it's like the whole guys at the very beginning of the movie are giving away the whole plot, but they're just like speaking Swedish or something and no one knows what the hell they're talking about, and just go about watching the whole movie. Like that's pretty much what they did with the title right there.
Right. And I wonder if people who saw The Thing in Sweden were like, why would they spoil the entire movie right now?
Yeah, right. Like I wonder if they changed that language to something else.
I may have actually seen something on YouTube that actually may have happened. They may have switched the languages just for the Swedish audience. I don't know. Or they didn't because they're lazy in the 80s. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like everybody was motivated in the 80s because they were all on cocaine.
True. Very, very possible.
Yeah. There was a lot of go-getters going on during the 80s.
A lot of nose issues.
Yeah, everybody kept going to the doctors for a drip.
I had this postnasal drip. I need to dry it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're just joining the podcast for the first time, and to remind everybody, just go over to twodadsreview.com, especially if you skipped over the American Horror Story portion, because I always forget that I go into the locations after I've already put in the, hey, jump to this timestamp. So got to let folks who come here just for Star Trek know how to find us. But twodadsreview.com pretty much gives you links to everywhere you can listen to us. And just check us out. Follow us at twodadsreview on Twitter. But all right, enough of that. Let's jump into this. If this is your first time here, I Clay, dad number 1, is the Trekkie. Corey, dad number 2, is the newcomer to the series, just has the general knowledge of Star Trek in general, but not following the universe like I have through my entire childhood.
Yeah, so don't go shoot me with a phaser. Don't even like set it to stun or kill or anything like that, man. Like I'm here enjoying myself and I'm trying to learn a little bit. So don't be going, what the F is he talking about?
I love that 7 weeks ago you would have shit on yourself for making some sort of Star Trek joke like that.
Oh yeah, dude, of course.
You've come so far.
Of course I would.
Okay,
I'll probably do it by myself later. I'll go, God, what was that? What were you thinking?
Will you please edit that out? Okay, so non-Trekkie, give me a quick rundown of your feelings and thoughts on this episode.
It was a good episode. I think I'm kind of in love with the Cleon.
Who, Laurel?
If that's the chick in the white, then yeah. Like,
that's her.
Because as soon as she went all kind of like, I'm done with these people and went all vengeance, I was like, yeah, I kind of like you a little bit more. You're, like, I get it, you're a Cleon, but you're like a Cleon with a conscience, and I kind of dig it.
Nice.
Plus, I think, like, maybe this will hop back to your whole, like, prisoner of love thing. Like, maybe she's got a soft spot for humans now.
Maybe she's just maybe she knows that Ash is on the Discovery, and maybe she misses him. Maybe he's not a bad guy. Maybe she has to be there to activate him. Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Ooh. Maybe if there's, like, some kind of secret cell, that may explain why she was trying to get on there. But, yeah, it was a good episode. We know that Saru can run super fast and is ridiculously strong. And I'm in love with
scary strong.
Yeah, and I'm in love with the Cleon. And the episode continued the overall streak of pretty bona fide, like, good episodes.
Good TV.
I don't think it was the best one that they've aired. Like, I would rate this one at the bottom of all the episodes that have aired so far, in my opinion. But it was still a good episode. That just goes to show how good the other episodes were. Like, I would give this an 8 out of a 10. I'm just saying it wasn't...
The rest are 9s.
Yeah, the rest are 9s, like, it wasn't as good as the rest of them.
Right, and I would... And we were saying this before we started recording. I agree with you. I understand the need for this episode. I understand, the episodic type stuff. The personal battles, the stuff we had to go through for this episode. It showed us some things for the overarching plot, but I'm with you. I would probably rate it at the bottom of the current 8, but like I said, the bar for the other ones are so high. It's rating it at the bottom, you're still above a lot of television on right now.
Yeah, like you're still getting a solid Rotten Tomatoes score. You know,
absolutely.
like without the other episodes. Like if this episode was just, you know, like a Tuesday episode, let's say, that just kind of came on, it would still have a great rating. Like if you know, even if this episode came on 5 years from now and the show had been like a full-time running hit for that long, like in this episode came out, it wouldn't be a bad episode.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, I think part of it, we don't expect, it definitely wasn't a filler episode, but you're not going to get a filler episode on a show that only has, the best thing I think, okay, let me try to get my thoughts right. The fact that Discovery is only doing like 13 or 15 episodes a season leaves the need to not have just filler episodes to make the 25 or the 26 or the 22, you know, episode season. I enjoy TV these days, like 2017, where we have more shorter seasons, but they can tell a coherent story and not just have, okay, we're 3/4 way through, let's just chuck some shit at people, just an episodic type thing that we don't really care about and really means nothing. So this was, you know, it helped some of the plot, but it was kind of a filler. It was kind of, you know, it's kind of like when you watch stuff on Netflix and you like Stranger Things. Like if you watch it and you can tell like episode 7 or 8, like they start going, you can tell the writers and everybody's just like, oh God, like we've only got 3 more to go, but we got to tell this story. And so it sometimes gets a little bit wonky there at that like 3/4 of the way spot. So. Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah. You know, a good show that was, I mean, it's not on the air anymore, but Bones, man. Bones was a really good show of doing the overall plot, but then also throwing in the occasional silly episode to like lighten up just the hardcore bomb they just dropped on you for 4 episodes. And then they give you something silly. And then they kind of give you like an episode of like, all right, this is the team getting back in the swing of things. Here's a couple different like odd cases that really test their mental. And then somehow it gets tied back into the overarch. Like they were really good at doing that. Like their down episodes were never quote unquote down episodes. You know, it was just like, hey, we're going to take you out of that little world for a day or two just to let you reset.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to say is that with especially with like Monster of the Week type shows, when it comes to like cop shows and procedural shows, it's real easy to have that episode where we're just going to focus on this week's monster or this week's bad guy or this week's case. You know what I'm saying? And then at the very end, they give you just a little bit of here's a little bit for the overarching story, but we're not going to destroy you with it like we did, you know, last week or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. But anyways, it was, yeah, I'm with you. It's still great TV. I still just am amazed by, and I guess it's because their internet. Okay, I'm amazed by the amount of people who still hate this show that are Star Trek fans, and I'm going to put it this way: when TNG and DS9 and Voyager were on the air, like for all intents and purposes, except the very end of Voyager and DS9, there was no internet, not like we think of it today. You know what I mean? There wasn't all of these options in places. So I'm sure there were people bitching about it. But and then I was in the Marine Corps and deployed during Enterprise, so I never got to see any of it until I watched it like years later after it had been canceled. So I don't know what happened during that show. I know everyone hated it, but the internet was kind of in its, you know, heyday in the early 2000s. Something I think that's what it was. And you know, people just had a voice and they could just bitch about it and everybody gets to read about it. But you know, I guess part of me is happy that there's a show on for us to bitch about. I don't know. It just amazes me that people don't like this show, and because it's not their cup of tea or their old Star Trek. Because like we don't need the old stuff every time. I just don't understand.
Yeah, man. I think it's just there's always going to be like, and especially with the internet, dude, you just notice it more. Like,
true.
You know, like I guarantee the amount of like child abductions and shit like that wasn't drastically different than the numbers today. It's just the fact that I can turn on any device I own and I can get lost in a rabbit hole of that.
Right. Or you don't turn your device on. You get Amber Alerts on your phone already.
Yeah, well, that's just genius. Like, yeah, you know, Amber Alerts is a fantastic little feature. Like, that to me, like, if you get an Amber Alert and you don't at least read it to see if like you're nearby the location, like you're a piece of shit. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it flat out. Like if you get an Amber Alert, and I don't care how old you are, man. Like if you're fucking 16, 17 and you're old enough to know what's going on and you get an Amber Alert and you just brush that off like it's a Twitter thing, like fuck you, dude. Like you're a piece of shit. Like that annoys the hell out of me, man. Like take a moment and see if you can help somebody. Yeah, like okay, sorry. That got me fired up real quick.
Wow. All right, we know your triggers. All right, trigger warning for Amber Alerts for
if you're not helping children in need, like you're just a bad person in my mind. And you know how I feel about kids, man. Like I hate them, but I think they're the most precious little thing in the world. Like
it's not their fault you hate them.
Yeah. I hate their parents and what they're doing to them, you know, like but like a child to me is the most unique little thing in the world and should always be built up. You know, so
it's like,
there we go. I'm done.
Timmy, it's not your fault. You're the way you are. Your dad's just an idiot. You egged my house not because of me and not because of you, but because your parents are shit.
Probably, dude. I would really, if I really broke it down with him and like asked him probably like 10 key questions, I'd be like, yeah, this wasn't your fault. You just need an outlet.
Come here, boy. You want a sarsaparilla? Come sit on my porch and let me ask you some questions about your parentage.
Oh, you sent me into a coffin fit with the sarsaparilla.
He fell out. Yeah, exactly. I know you got sarsaparilla over there, you old bastard. Okay, so let's move forward before this takes the entire day. So episode opens up like with no bullshit. We are in a firefight. A ship that looks about the same design as the Shinzu is in a firefight with 6 Klingon vessels. Like they're not even like it's not even fair. In fact, I started naming each of the scenes just because I was bored when I was taking notes last night, and so I named this scene Outnumbered because they friggin' were, and like it's not even fair. Like you got 6 Klingon ships against 1 Federation ship. That either shows they're just fucking dicks, or you know because a lot of those ships got either the Klingons have ships for days, or they're afraid of what the Federation can do if given the opportunity and the ability, you know, war wise.
I think probably a little bit of both. Probably, I think the Klingons, now that they've all joined up, like they probably do just have ships that they can just throw at the wind right now.
Just ships everywhere.
Yeah. But also because they're not sure if they're ever going to run into, you know, our super secret special ship. Like, they're probably like doing the buddy system. Okay. You're going to quadrant 6, take Sally with you. You're going to quadrant 5, you know, take with you and go on about your business, you know?
Funny enough, that was pronounced correctly. So Discovery arrives awesomely in their way, and I love Lorca rolls in and he's like, "We've got your back," and like just goes to town and just lights up Klingon ships left and right. And yeah, so you need to bring more than 2 to the fight because if given the right Federation ship, it's going to fuck your world up.
It looked like those Klingon ships. I mean, like, I guess I'll use kind of naval terms. Like, it didn't look like a battle cruiser. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looked like a little ship that had a little bit of oomph to it. Like all 6 of them did. So together, they're a swarm. You know, they're terrifying. But like, if you saw one of those, which I think, you know, like Lorca got to pick them out a little individually there, that they don't stand a chance against the firepower that some Star Trek ships have, I guess.
Right. Yeah, and they're I believe the smaller ones with the curved down wings, because they don't look like they used to in the old days. I believe they're calling them birds of prey, and so it kind of gives you that like they're smaller, smaller manned. You know, if they are battle cruisers, they're not that big, and so there's the right kind of hit, and they're gone. What did you think of Lorca's bridge presence? Like, he is just, I mean, he's yelling at people. I mean, I know they're in a battle, but like he's the greatest dick ever. It's just so fantastic.
Yeah, he does a really good way of like being a dick, but also going, "I love you" in that sentence, you know, or at least with his facial expressions or whatever. Like, You know, he's like, you're all my children, and right now I just have to be a little assholes to make sure you guys are doing what you need to do.
Well, yeah, and he still doesn't believe they're ready for all they're doing, you know, from their stuff we saw a few episodes ago when they were doing the training simulations. I mean, he's hollering at guys like, can I trouble you to fire at something?
Yeah, that was great. Like, geez, man. Like, that was the most nonchalant way of asking someone to blow something up ever.
Ask somebody to do their damn job.
Yeah.
Something that's really cool, because cloaking technology is brand new, and this is part of the reason why I liked Enterprise. The show Enterprise was because you got to see characters in the Star Trek world like learning things that you know already. Like you got to see them learn that they need in Enterprise. You got to see them learn that they need to have some sort of something that gets them to raise shields, arm phasers, and load photon torpedo bays. And you saw them like come up with Red Alert, like in Enterprise. Like Red Alert, when the show first started, didn't exist. And they didn't have shields, they had hull plating, but whatever, we're not going to get into that. But I'm saying you got to watch them, like, you know, form the prime directive the way they're supposed to, like to learn and make mistakes and figure out like this kind of stuff. So to transition that to this fight on the bridge, you see Lorca and his helmsman and his navigator, like learning about cloaking technology. As we already know, they can't fire while cloaked, you know, things like that. And they make a mention, okay, Lorca's like, okay, they can't fire while they're cloaked, so get ready as soon as they decloak, you know, be ready to lock on, stuff like that. I thought it was really cool to watch him, like, watch that group of people learn what we as Trek fans already know inherently. It's kind of cool to watch that.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, I know you're listening. That's cool. This is a Trekkie thing that I'm going into. I don't expect you to have a response to that.
Yeah, dude. I was like, I got nothing for that, man. Like, so I hope you transition quickly.
Yeah, please go to something I can talk about. Okay, so in his ballsiness, he pulls the Discovery in between the ship that's being destroyed and some photon torpedoes that get fired, or some Klingon torpedoes or whatever. I don't know if they're photon or not. Whatever. Nerd. But yeah, he pulls the ship, right. He takes the impact of the torpedo, but he doesn't catch both of them, and the Gagarin gets destroyed. And yeah, and then you see, like, this is why I love Lorca's character, because he, you know, other times we would have taken a second to like have to be like, oh God, the ship's gone. Oh God, all those lives. And he's like, no, Black Alert, get out of here. We can't do anything. Like, that's our reason for being right here is gone. So get. And they got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was like, dude, you know, we'll have a time to mourn, but now is not that time.
Right. And he says that when they come back out of Black Alert, and even but what was really cool is that emotion, he didn't show it, but who showed it to us, Corey? Do you remember?
No.
Tilly did, because he was having Tilly spreading up the spore drive, and as he was telling her, he's like, "Is Black, you know, are we ready?" And just the way she presented her lines, like you could tell that she was like devastated.
Gotcha.
To a certain extent, because they knew the ship just exploded and all that stuff. So good old Tilly, she's our feelings, of course. We know she's the feelings feeler. So we get it from her. And that moves us into a quick little scene in engineering after they come out of Red Alert, or come out of Black Alert, and Lorca says, you know, there's time to grieve later, but first give me a damage report of the ship. We're in engineering, and Stamets is coming out of the spore chamber disoriented as hell. Not like happy high Stamets, like just like not doing well Stamets. And he looks at Tilly, she's like, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "What are you doing down here, Captain?" And I was like, oh, Captain Tilly in the future.
Right,
like,
dude, that's exactly what I thought. I went, oh, Tilly's going to be a captain. That's so sweet.
And she stuttered all over herself, and then like Stamets, like, he's like back to Dick Stamets.
Yeah, he was like, I don't feel good, so I'm going to be an asshole to everybody.
Right. He carries that on later on in the episode, but we'll get to that in a second. So now we know that in some way, shape, or form, it's not like he was mistaking Tilly for Lorca. So I think there's some sort of, not that he can time travel, but because he exists outside the normal time stream, he can see some of the future, or he can have remnants of it, or something hits him. And so that's important. And it's really important because we know that's her goal. Like,
well, I think it's sorry to cut you off, man.
No, go ahead.
I think Stamets sees multiple timelines.
Okay.
I don't think he sees like a straight timeline forward and backwards. I think he's kind of like in a pool, and when he goes to bounce to locations, he crosses timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so, or so as he's moving through, I don't know what you want to call it, the fifth dimension, right? Like,
sure, man, I'm with it. We'll go with it.
Like as he's moving through the
isn't time the fourth dimension? Are we calling spores the fifth now?
Well, I'm calling it the fifth because I'm saying he's fluid.
Right.
Like, so, like, I think as he moves across it, he's actually interacting with all the different timelines, all the timelines that could happen. Like, he could go, like, be seeing the timeline where Tilly went left and the timeline where Tilly went right. Right.
But there's no timeline. Well, I take that back. It's completely possible, but not really, because Stamets he has to have seen future Tilly because she's too young to be a captain. And I know people are going to argue with me, well, Kirk got a ship right out of whatever. I don't care. Like, she's still a cadet, so she couldn't be a captain at this current moment in her age. But
it's the future, but what I'm saying is we don't know if it's
this timeline.
We don't know if it's the correct timeline. Let's say the correct, because we want Tilly to be a captain. Like, so, but he's seen everything. So I guarantee there'll be a problem. I don't want to guarantee it, but I'm going to guarantee it.
Do it, man.
There'll probably be a scene in the show, maybe not this season, but next season, where Stamets sees something that's bad. Like, full blown bad. Not like when he was caught up in the time loop, but like, he's going to come out of the spore drive and look at someone, and he's going to say something like, "You're not supposed to be here." Right. You know, and then everyone's going to be like, "What?"
Right, exactly. Yeah, I can completely see that, and I can see an entire episode based, and I'm guessing his timeline knowledge will probably play into the fact that we know we're getting a mirror universe episode at some point. We don't know when, but it's already been leaked that we're getting a mirror episode. So, like, Spock with a goatee, like the alternate of the current people. We talked about it a couple shows ago, because everybody's so dark in this season. The only person who would be bad would be Tilly. Everybody else would be really nice because everybody else is so dark.
Yeah, right. They would all be like, "High fives! I love you, man." And Tilly's all walking around like
brooding Tilly. Exactly. So, yeah. So that was just a little scene. I mean, it wasn't more than like 30 seconds, but it was like, woo. That's just setting up that overarching plot of this, you know, the spore drive technology, why we don't see it later on, because we know it's messing with them already, and it's only been a few months. We know it's not going to last. I'd be surprised if the spore drive stuff actually makes it past this season, and we don't just revert back to standard warp drive type episodes and type abilities. I don't know. Who knows? Because it's really messing him up. So, but the question is, if he can do it, then anybody who injects themselves can do it. So it could still lead to my Section 31 theory, not mine, the one I read online, but you know what I'm saying. It's just only a small group of these people use them outside the boundaries of Starfleet, things like that. Because if they can time travel, because he said something that was futuristic, it could be possible that's more and more feeling like this Section 31 idea is relevant just because of the time travel aspect that they're showing us. So I don't know. We'll see. I love just like guessing at what they're going for. So let's see. Next scene. We are getting the battle debriefing in the ready room with Lorca and the Vulcan Starfleet. I haven't seen his rank. I'm guessing he's an admiral, the one he hung up on a few episodes ago. And you see. During their conversation right at the very beginning, I love that Lorca just walks through his image. He just walks through the projection of the guy. Because, you know, if the guy's like standing somewhere watching Lorca in the same room moving, you know, as they're being briefed, like, you know, he sees Lorca like coming to his, like, the projection, like, come on, man, don't walk through me.
Yeah.
It's like just sweet. It's just a sweet dick move. He's just like, I'm just going to walk through you. And he's
I'm going to make you turn around in the room you're in.
Right, the little booth you're standing in, you're going to turn around, you're going to watch me walk right through your body. Lorca's letting him have it too, because he's like, why are we why are we the only ship in the sector able to render aid? Why are we the only ones who can do this stuff? He's like, you guys are calling me all over. And I'm gonna call him an admiral because I don't know anything else. Who else he'd be reporting to other than an admiral or a whatever. So he says the Hoover and the Murrock were also in the sector, but were simultaneously ambushed. So the Klingons are not messing around. They are doing this shit right. They're like, we have this sector. There's 3 ships. Everybody take a pack and go hit all 3 of them. The Discovery can't get to them all. So the Klingons are really good warriors. We know that. So
yeah, I mean, we kind of expected mass casualties.
Yeah, pretty much. This conversation also informs Lorca, and Starfleet has now confirmed that Cole's Ship of the Dead is up and running, and it's sharing the cloaking technology, and confirming that then brings on the mission on Pavo, which is already underway, and why the mission there that Burnham and Saru and Tyler are on is of the highest priority, because they have got to figure out how to see these cloaked ships, because they are destroying. They can't fight against it. You know what I mean? They just can't do it.
Yeah.
And it's so new to them. They have no one's figured out. They're grasping at any straw they can to figure out how to detect cloaked ships, which they do for years and years past this. So they don't find anything. Trust me. So we learned the team is already there, and we also learned that they are radio silenced, so to avoid detection of the Klingons, because they don't want the Klingons to know that they're on this planet, because then they could either destroy the transmitter or use it to their own advantage or whatever. So we move on from there to Burnham and Tyler and Saru on Pavo. And I titled this one the old 30 kilometers away trope, because God forbid you be able to transport down right to where you want to go because all of the interference. So now we have to do a 30-kilometer trek, which involves all of this, talking time. So that's what they give it to us. It's like, we can't beam down right to do it and get it taken care of. We have to walk 30 miles. We have to walk 30 kilometers to get where we're going. So we learn that Pavo. Go ahead.
Oh, you just said 30 kilometers, and I was just like, yeah, and Saru can run 80 kilometers an hour.
I also, when I was watching it the second time, I was like, why don't you just have him haul ass and set shit up?
Right?
None of this episode would have taken place. Like, you would have just let him run there, set it up, run back. You'd have been just fine.
Yeah, all of 5 minutes, man.
Right. I mean, get on his back like what is it? I'm blanking. What's the vampire movies for the ladies? Twilight. Just jump on his back like Twilight and let him run you up a hill.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, solid piggyback ride.
I mean, we know he's strong. He could take one of you.
Oh yeah, easily.
And it may drop his speed down to like 40, but that's only an hour, so you're still fine. I don't understand.
Yeah, you're still doing well.
So during Burnham's personal log, which kind of just gives us the lay of the land, we learned that Pavo, that this planet, it's uninhabited, supposedly. And every object, every piece of plant, rock, tree, anything on that planet emits its emits its own noise, like its own humming, like music, like noise, vibration, if you will. Oh, it vibrates at its own specific tone. That's what she said. I'm trying to read my notes. Like, I know I typed it. Where'd it go? And to the point where the planet has created this crystalline tower that stretches like into the friggin' clouds and transmits that tone like through space, like where everybody can like patch in. They know that's Pavo. Hey, that noise, that's Pavo. Like when they're listening on, subspace stuff. So also we learn from conversation that Saru is super fast, like we were just talking about, 80 kilometers an hour. We also find out that him being on this planet is causing him an extreme amount of discomfort by the constant noise, just because of his whole, like, the way he's made and having to be cautious and scared at all times, to protect himself. Like, he is being tortured right now by this noise.
Yeah. He's definitely in a lot of pain.
Yeah. Can hardly stand to be where he's at, which at that point, it was like, we'll go back to the ship and let the two of us just go do it. I don't, this is why, and I think some of this nitpick is why this episode didn't really hit home like the rest of them did, because it's like, you can run fast. Yeah, it hurts. So either run and go do it real fast or just stay on the ship. Like, whatever. Just don't be down here. Like, we can run the mission. Tyler's a freaking lieutenant. He's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Just bring a red shirt. That guy will die. That's fine. Just bring that guy. So as they're walking, and I typed light dust creature because I didn't know what else to, because truthfully, when you first see it, you're like, oh shit, it's spores like the spore drive, but it's not. So I don't think they never say they're spores. They never say that. But then later on in the episode, something happens where I'm like, are they spores? But I'll bring that up in a minute because I don't know what the shit happened. It's like they just got tired. Anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. But so Saru immediately is like, oh, let's try to talk to them and see what happens. And then as they're kind of being cautious, which is funny because you have the humans being cautious, and Saru is like, yeah, let's just go talk to it, which is like completely out of character already for him. So it's weird to see the hesitation not come from him.
Yeah, that was odd. Like, he was all like, nah, we're good, man.
Like from the get-go.
Fine. Yeah, yeah. I guess I should have caught on that noise was messing with his head, like his thought process.
Well, I don't know if it was messing with his thought process as much as I don't know if they were already affecting his like fear or affecting his.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, okay, so like he landed it first, right? And he's like this creature designed to detect
danger.
So what if this thing, when it first came in, like it was emitting a sound of danger to the rest of the planet, right?
Right. When
they landed, so of course Saru's all like, what the heck, because maybe they're kind of on the same frequency. Like, let's just say danger and survival hum at different levels, right?
Right.
So
danger is a universal language.
Yeah.
Right?
Danger's mathematics, man. Everybody knows when danger is happening. Like,
nice.
But then what if they realized that he wasn't a threat, or they weren't a threat because of the small interactions they had, and they changed the frequency? And so instead of him actually being this creature that is on heightened alert, that's what Saru's like when there is no threat. Like, where he knows that there is no possible threat. And I'm saying that tone messed with his sensories to say, hey, look, dude, there is never a threat here.
Right. And I would definitely agree with you to a large portion of your of that, except I would say that they just turned it down a little bit, which is why he felt so comfortable, but he wasn't quite sure why. Because we learned later on that when they finally interact with him completely, that he for once in his entire life felt no fear whatsoever. But that was later on. But yeah, I would say that they turned it down a little bit to call, but not enough that he was like weirded out that he wasn't being afraid, but enough that he wasn't as afraid as he usually is.
Well, that's what, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying it completely went away, but it was lowered enough that it basically changed his characteristics.
Very true. Absolutely. And while he's interacting and they're being cautious, we then realize that they're surrounded by them. And so that was a little bit, they're like, oh shit, Tyler's like, we're surrounded.
Yeah, those little, I call those little fuckers Wisp.
Wisp? I'm like that.
Yeah.
We'll call it the Wisp.
Well, do you know what a Wisp is?
Isn't it something like no?
Well, like in old Irish and Scottish folklore, there's Wisp, man, and they're like, they would lure people in through the woods by the lights, and they would follow, and they're supposed to take, like, the story is they're supposed to take you to something, but Wisp are actually little malevolent little bastards and played little tricks on everybody all the time. So when I first saw those things, and then especially when I saw them, quote unquote, make bodily forms surrounding them, I was like, you can never trust a Wisp, man. They're always little bastards. Nice.
Yeah, I think I've seen a show that talked about that recently, but I can't remember what it was. But now that you said like the little light leading somebody through the woods, I've seen that like on TV recently, and I can't remember where I saw it. But that's cool.
Well, you got kids, so maybe you watched the movie Brave recently, because they're definitely in that.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, we did watch that recently. Okay, cool. Now I know where I got it from.
Yeah, but those little fuckers are what I thought the little lights on the planet where I was like, ooh, these things are gonna be bad.
Yeah, well, it ends up being something close to that. I mean, pretty close to that. Not bad, but just not doing well at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next scene we are on after they're surrounded, we switch over to the ship of the dead, and Laurel and Cole are there, and I call this scene, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" Because she's talking to Cole. She's saying, "I've seen all these other houses have fallen in line. More and more of them are coming together to fall in line with you and your teachings and your leadership." And she brings, I want my house to join your line as well. And he's like, "Well, I don't take anybody in. You've got to prove to me that you're worth even being in my group." So she goes, I hear you have a prisoner who's not talking. She's like, I can get that person to talk. And he's like, "We'll see. Let's see what you can do, and then we'll talk about it later."
Yeah, he's like, "Prove your worth."
Exactly. So we know that more houses are joining. We know he's sharing the cloaking technology. We know that from the battle earlier that a lot more Klingon ships have this technology. So it goes on from there. So we know that we pretty much know even at that point what prisoner she's talking about. So we know it's the Admiral. So we'll get there in just a minute. But back to Pavo, we are in the scene I'm calling "Go Towards the Light," because they pretty much, Saru, after they're surrounding, he's like, I think they want us to follow them, and so they're just traipsing through the woods. I think Burnham even said they weren't even going in the direction of the tower.
Like, they were going the opposite direction. Yeah,
right. And then so it brings them to this. I mean, it's a hut in the woods of a planet that's uninhabited. Like, there's no people on it. What's this hut doing here? Like, why? Like, my thing is, they don't even. I mean, I can see, someone lands and like builds a hut in the woods or whatever. But so the lights.
Do you think the planet just built it quickly?
I don't. It had like
to accommodate the humans.
I mean, we didn't get any sort of. I don't know. I just thought it was. I don't know. Like I was asking myself, why is this hut here? I don't think they didn't show us like the planet doing anything that like moved or made, or they didn't show us anything else, like even a tiny thing to like show us that, hey, the planet can just move around and make shit as it wants to. So I don't know. If they had shown me like a vine moving across the ground and like picking something up out of the way, then I would like, oh, okay, so the planet can do some grabby grab stuff. That's fine. But I didn't see any of that.
Well, isn't like the big tower radar like justification of that because they built that thing?
Yeah, but it's been around for millennia, so I mean, it could have taken.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But those things have been there forever, and like they even made a comment in the show that everything that the humans and the Klingons and all these other creatures are trying to do, they've already done.
Right.
So, like, what if that form is the like quote unquote the final form? It's Frieza, final form. like. I'm just saying they've been around for millennia, so maybe they've already been human-like creatures, and maybe there was already some shit that was there, and then now they just pulsate through the whole fucking planet because it's their planet of peace.
That's a possibility.
I'm just saying, like if we can go off a planet vibing to a whole like tune, like we can take a hut, in there.
They built a tower and a hut, and that's all. That's all they did for the last millennia.
All they needed.
Okay, so inside the hut, there's like one of the main wisp is like chilling there, and Saru's like, we need to, I want to attempt to make contact. And Saru, even at this point, is already like, they don't mean us any harm. They don't mean us any harm. And Tyler's like, are we sure? Like, can we not just jump into the dust of light? Like, can we just not just roll up in there? Can we be a little cautious? And Saru's like, no, I'm going to, attempt to make contact. And as he goes there towards it, like it tries to like envelop him for this first time. And like he pulls back and he's like, they're like, are you okay? He's like, I'm just disoriented.
Yeah, he was like, it was too much too fast. I couldn't keep up with it. He said it was all like scrambled or something.
Right, and he's like, they definitely are trying to communicate with us. And at this point, Burnham's like, well, shit. She's like, and she starts quoting protocol when it comes to it's not prime directive because the entity itself made contact. Now you have to go under first contact protocol, which now means they just can't go use this tower because they want to. They have to get permission from the entity on the planet to get to use that tower and ensure that that entity knows what they're intending to do with it. Yeah. You can't just go use it because you're a higher intelligence, which you really you don't know at that point. So yeah. So back to the death ship, the ship of the dead. We are at the Admiral's holding cell. L'Rell goes in and she like grabs a, cool looking knife and she's like, scream. And
yeah.
The Admiral's like, no. And then she's like, no, scream. And so Klingon, L'Rell screams, Admiral screams, like it was, face to face. And then she's like, good. That convinced him. She's like, now we can talk. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good scene. I like that scene.
I love that she knew that if the guard thought that she was starting to interrogate her with knives, that she knew he would like go away. Like, what do you got a weak stomach, buddy? You can't hear all that stuff. She just knew he was gonna walk away.
Yeah, or he was probably like, they're about to say some shit, and I don't need to know this.
Oh, he doesn't know she's talking, or they do because they take her off later on. I don't know, but yeah, he definitely.
No. I meant like he's thinking that she's getting tortured, and so she's gonna give up information. And he's like, I don't want to know that shit. I don't want to be the guy that knows that crap. Fuck that.
Like, nope.
It's a bad position to know.
I gotta go pee.
Yep.
I'm out of here. So then we know that so now we know that her intentions were never to torture her. But then, I get second guessing myself because it's like, is all of this a large plot for, well, let's get back to that because we're going to come back to that, to the scene in a minute. I'll come back to that theory in a second because it'll get us too far ahead in the episode. But so we are back on Pavo again, and Saru is not around, and Tyler and Burnham are in the hut having like a nice little heart-to-heart chitty chat about future and life and everything else. And Tyler's talking about, oh yeah, we could go, I see myself fishing, camping, sitting on the beach, watching the stars. And Burnham's like, I have a life sentence, bro.
Yeah, she's like, once all this is done, I'm going to jail.
Right. There's no way they're not going to send me back to jail when this is over. Like, this is Starfleet. Like, you don't get redemption from the stuff I did. And then I think he says something to the point of like, well, then I guess we'll have to keep this war going so you don't have to go back to jail.
Oh, yeah. He did say something like that.
And then they go into a little bit of fan service, which I don't need fan service. But he says the needs of the many are worth fighting for, are worth dying for. And he says, but so are the needs of the few. And Burnham says, or the one, which, have you seen Star Trek 2?
No.
3? No. The movie? Okay.
No.
So there's a spoiler alert for a movie that's probably 25 years old.
Sorry, man.
Oh, that's okay. Spoiler alert for a movie that's like 20-something years old, and I think it's Star Trek 2, maybe 3. I feel bad as a Trekkie not knowing exactly which one it is. But Kirk and Spock, they're on the Enterprise. There's something that has to be fixed inside a radiated room of engineering, and Spock goes in and does what he has to do, but in the meantime getting a chunk of radiation poisoning that proves to be fatal. And as they're like having their last goodbyes, Spock is like, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And that's where, that's where it comes from. I don't remember the line exactly. I probably should have looked it up before I said it, but that's what they're going off of. And I don't, it never struck me as like a saying like live long and prosper, like where everybody knows it, everybody says it. Like it just seems odd for them to bring up like a line that we all know so well in a situation like this. It's not like it's a commonly said thing, but whatever. it just hit me wrong because I'm like, I don't need this kind of fan service. Just write me a good, lovey-dovey conversation. That's fine. Because at the end, we get their real first kiss. So
I thought it was a cool line because I didn't have any recollection of it. So I was like, look at you smooth motherfucker. I was like, oh, look at you, Michael. Counter. Yeah. Like, so to me, it was
right.
Because, like, I know you were like, write a lovey-dovey conversation, but you got to remember, like, Michael doesn't know what love is.
True. Very true.
So she hasn't ever gotten all giggly and stupid and doesn't understand that love makes you like an absolute retard.
Right. And I guess there could be a point that maybe the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few is like a logic that's taught in Vulcan, for all we know, because it is logical. So maybe it is more common than I'm making it out to be in the world they live in. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think it was just a cool homage and like a cool line that could have been used there, and probably some writer probably one of the writers who's also a giant Star Trek fan, like jotted it down, and someone was like, "Yeah, dude, that's cool as shit."
Truthfully, they probably had like 8 meetings that week, and like pink teams and red teams and gold teams, like to determine if if this was the time we wanted to use that line. It's like, do we do this now? But yeah, so they get their real first kiss. Good for them. And that's nice, since they mentioned it last week that they quote unquote missed their first kiss because it wasn't the loop that stayed.
Yeah.
So we are back on Discovery in the mess hall. The next scene, and it's Tilly. Stamets is eating or studying or reading or all three, and Tilly sits down with him, and she's notably concerned with what happened to Stamets. Not so much what he said to her, but the fact that he's not his normal fun high self anymore.
Yeah, man, he's having a bad trip right now.
Yeah, he is not. He is having a paranoid, I need to go to bed type trip. And he admits that when he comes out of it, what he knows changes. He thinks he knows things, and then 1 minute, and then the next minute, it's something completely different. We also see, I liked his the way he explained why he's not telling Hugh. He's not telling his partner, his boyfriend, husband. I don't know. Are they married? I don't remember. Anyways, his name is Hugh, and I can't remember his last name right now. Do you remember the doctor's last name?
Nope, he's the doctor.
Yep, the doctor. He's not telling him. He says, if I tell him and he reports it like he's supposed to, they're going to take me back to, Starfleet and poke me full of needles and do studies and figure out what's wrong with me. And if I tell him and he doesn't do what he's supposed to do, then I've put his career and his job and his livelihood in jeopardy as well. I hurt him either way, therefore I'm not telling him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm not letting him make that decision because either way sucks for him, which is really, that's a really... it's really pertinent, and it speaks for the love that those two have for each other, and in any relationship. I feel like I have to like make qualifiers because because they're gay, but who cares? Like any relationship, that's a great thing for one of the two partners to realize. Like, I'm going to hold this, and it's going to be mine, because if I tell you, no matter what the outcome, you're going to be hurt. So what are you going to do? So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you also got to be like, you gotta be honest. Like, don't you think he should like end up telling him? Because like, what if he ends up dying or some other shit like that too? Like here in this, like, I'm just saying, like,
it's a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Because, if I was going about it, like, I would tell him and then bank that he just decided to, like, I would trust their outcome, like whatever they make the call on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, look, dude, if you think I need to go get poked full of needles, like, that sucks. But if it keeps me alive and I can come back to you, then cool. Or if you think that's a terrible decision and you and I need to figure this out, then like, all right, let's do it that way.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to end up telling him because he will be more mad that he didn't tell him in the beginning and let him make the own. We could see it. It's just, he's in a rock and a hard place. What are you supposed to do?
And that doctor plays nice in every scene. So
I want to see him mad.
So damn well, man. He's got it locked and loaded, just waiting to go off. He's like asking the writers. He's like, "Hey,
when can I go off?
When do I get to yell at somebody? Because I am nice all the time."
Right. So yeah, and that will be a great when he finally gets to go off on somebody. Is going to be pretty amazing.
Oh, it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to laugh my ass off.
Right.
Like, it is going to be one of those, oh my God, dude, that person just got put in their place so hard. Yeah, it's going to be like that.
Right. So they finish up the scene with Tilly letting him know that she'll monitor she will monitor him on her own. So she's going to not tell anybody and just take it under her wing to make sure, to keep with him and see what's going on and see how it's affecting him. So I'm sure that will come out swimmingly. I'm sure that will be just great. I'm sure nothing will go wrong with that idea.
No, dude, it's 100% foolproof.
Foolproof. Okay, so we are back with we are back in the interrogation / containment cell that the Admiral is in, and L'Rell is asking her, what does the Federation do with prisoners of war? What do they do with those who they've captured? And the Admiral's like, well, we humanely interrogate them and keep them and feed them, safely, and then they're returned to their people at the end of the war as some part of a peace settlement. And L'Rell's like, you mean you don't execute them? She's like, no, bitch.
She's like, why would we do that?
He's like, the Federation has no death penalty. So then at that point, L'Rell's like, I want to defect. I've got a shuttle in a nearby hangar. We need to get off this ship, and we only have a certain amount of time. And the Admiral's like, why should I trust you? And L'Rell's like, what other option do you have?
So yeah, basically,
I mean,
that's a good solid point right there. Like, what do you want to sit here?
Right. You've got me. I'll go with you. So that we know that they are going to attempt to escape, which we're sure will go really well. So we're back on Pavo in the next scene, and we find out from Saru that the wisps, the light dust, whatever you want to call it, is the planet. We already know that Burnham couldn't scan it earlier. It's not showing up as anything other than everything else that's around. So it's Saru tells them that they want to reach out, and that they're trying to make contact, and he also, of course, mentions the constant noise is just it's still bothering him. So whatever they've done, they haven't eliminated it yet. But he can't make out what they're doing or what they want to say, because he's being distracted by the noise that's happening on the planet. And this is further shown when they're all like sleeping, camping out in the woods, and Saru's just laying there awake, like twitching, like he can't even go to sleep, and he runs off into the woods, and then the light dust wisp stuff surrounds him, and like he does some like weird like forehead light thing projection. Whatever happened there?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I was hoping you had a better description than I could think of.
I typed forehead light on my notes. I don't know what. I mean, it's
he put on a spelunking helmet and got to town.
Right, now you have a built-in flashlight. You're good. That works. But yeah, I don't know what, and they don't do a lot of telling us what it was, like what it is. We still don't know what it is. But we do see, once he gets hit with that, like you see him like he sighs like a sign of relaxation. Like he's like, thank God. So you could tell that something has changed. And the next morning, I even tweeted this. The next morning he comes in and he's like, Burnham's like, well, you look like you got a good night's sleep. And Tyler's like, yeah, you look way better. Like Tyler goes, you look like you're better. And Saru goes, I am. And I was like, no, you're not. Like I think I tweeted, I was like, no, you are not better. You are the farthest from better that could possibly be. But he says, I already contacted the ship using the transmitter. The planet let me do it. He's like, all I need is, let me have your communicators, and we'll get on with the rest of this mission. The mission parameters have changed via the captain, what he said. And so they're like, sure, here's our communicators. And then the son of a bitch just barehanded just crushes them. Just crushes communicators in his hand. And we're like, oh, okay, that's great.
Yeah, he's like, you don't need these anymore.
Yeah, you won't need these anymore. We're gonna stay here on the planet forever. And he's just as relaxed as he can be, and he's even like stroking Burnham's face as he's like telling her this.
Yeah, that was weird, man. I didn't like that at all.
That was just Doug Jones. Doug Jones is the actor. That's just him getting into it. Just like It's okay. And yeah, so after that, he's like, I'm gonna go tell the planet that we're staying. And, so at that point, Burnham and Tyler are arguing over the fact that Saru is compromised, and then Tyler simultaneously pulls rank and self-cock blocks himself. Because he's like, I'm lieutenant, I'm in charge now. I was like, whoa, bro, you're not getting any sort of loving for a while now, dude. So we pick up with L'Rell and the Admiral have made it into the hallway, and they are trying to get to the ship that she supposedly has waiting for them. A couple other Klingons come up behind them during their exchange, but they're far enough away that they can't hear what they're saying. And you know, I believe they said that the Klingon L'Rell said something to the fact of, you weren't what I expected, and the Admiral's like, you weren't either, and grabs her blade and starts swinging, and the Admiral grabs her blade and starts swinging for her, and then the proverbial cat fight ensues, and the Admiral's holding her own, by the way.
Dude, yeah, she was looking legit there. Like, it took me a minute to realize, like, if they both kind of, like, that little, you're not what I thought you were, nor were you, like, was that code?
I assume or is she
that dead?
Killing her like that without knowing for sure, I assume they were in the interrogation room for a while and they already had everything planned out. And if someone was to, hey, in the event someone shows up while we're walking there, take my blade and I'm gonna give you the old once over, and we're gonna kill you. I mean, or at least knock you out, and then we'll worry about it from there. Because she could, now that she's in the so they fight and it only ends by L'Rell like headbutting her, you're not gonna fight that.
Well, yeah, she headbutts her.
She's like, at least you won't die in the cage.
And hits her. Yeah, and that's what threw me off. So I was like, okay, was that just for show? Or did she really just throw out that sick one-liner
as they were walking
and kill her?
before the guys camped behind them, she says, I grew up on this ship. I know this ship like the back of my hand. And, well, she didn't say that. That's not a term she would use, but it's what she said. She's like, I know every inch of this ship. So she slammed her into that part of the ship.
Yeah.
I think on purpose, because she knows it's either like a low voltage conduit or something, and she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna knock you out nice and good, or even stop your heart for that matter, and then revive her later on in the place where they're just tossing bodies apparently."
Yeah, right. I was like, oh man, is that where they're getting their food?
But yeah, so I don't think she killed her. She drags her later on in the scene. But we'll get there later on in the episode. But we'll get there in a second. We'll jump back over to Pavo real fast. Tyler's in the hut. Saru brings him. So he's like, "Hey, no more rations for us. We've got berries and nuts from the planet that's giving us. And you also notice that Burnham is not there. And
yeah,
Tyler is.
She was sprinting through the woods.
Yeah, she wasn't running 80 kilometers an hour though. That's for sure.
No, she wasn't. She was a little slow, if you know what I'm
saying. Tyler is noticeably trying to keep Saru there and occupied. So they had this long conversation where Tyler's just like, he keeps asking him like, but what if? But what about this? And then at the end, Saru like comes up with this green rock, like green glowing rock, and he's like, here, touch this. And
yeah, what the hell was that thing?
I don't know. See, that's this episode. They're not. I don't need you to over-explain something, but you've got to give me something. Yeah. Apparently, it was a rock that let Saru know of Tyler's intentions. Like maybe not read his mind, but know that he was being, not trustworthy.
Yeah, so maybe it was just a trick.
An emotion stone. I don't know what it was. Who knows what it was? He's like,
oh, what are those things called, man? Where you hold them in your hand and it changes color.
You mean like a mood ring?
And yeah, dude, it was just a giant ass mood ring.
That's the stone that they mine the mood rings from. So what's green in mood ring? I don't know. Is that horny? I don't even know.
I always thought red was like love and yellow was, I don't know, whatever. Why are we doing
I don't know. We're too old. People on here who are under the age of like 20 are like, what the hell's a mood ring? Like nothing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you don't know about slap bands either, you jackass.
Ooh, slap bands, man. We're going a whole... we got to stop. Okay. So Saru finds out that she's the transmitter, he knows she's there. We know she's there because it cuts over to her, and she is like just trying to get that transmitter working, and we get to see Saru in his full speed element.
Yeah, dude, I was really wondering how they were going to make him fast.
Sadly, a little bit too fluidy CGI.
Yeah, I didn't think it was terrible, but I also was kind of like, yeah, I guess.
You know, there's practical ways for making someone run fast. For instance, what's the Death Dealer vampire movies with what's her name in it? What's it called? Underworld,
right? With Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, Kate Beckinsale and the main werewolf guy who's also a vampire in Twilight. Boy, there's been a lot of Twilight talk today. This is weird. What's his name? The guy from Masters of Sex.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. The guy that is remotely like a very attractive man when he has a beard, and then becomes just a goblin when he takes it off.
Right.
Like him and I have a lot in common when it comes to that. Like if I take my beard off, it's
yeah, boy, put that back on. Right. Anyways, that actor, Michael Sheen, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Michael Sheen, not Martin. Okay, Michael Sheen. Anyways,
not Martin.
There's a part of Underworld, I believe, the very first movie where he's running behind a car that's going full speed, and it's a practical effect because they had him on a platform. They had like a rug, like the car was like dragging a rug, and so you couldn't see his feet, like what they were stepping on, but you could see him like gaining on the car because he was running on the rug that the car was pulling. So it made him look like
gotcha.
So there's practical ways of doing that, but and because the CG budget and the CG effects have been so good this entire series so far, like that's when like I got this, I was like, it's like crappy human CG that's the worst. Like it's just like where it's like gangly arms that don't bend right and the body just looks too fluid, and I'm just like, come on, guys. Just
they're all whippy.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, it's way too fluid. So but then that again, it could be because he's an alien and that's how he runs. I don't give a shit. Your CG was ass for that scene. Just for that scene. But we got to see him hauling ass like across the heading to her, which was, it's still pretty friggin' amazing. So Burnham sees him coming, so she's like, I got to get this shit done fast. But then they cut us back to the death ship, back to what we were talking about. So Laurel is dragging the Admiral like into the coffin area where all the bodies are, and then she starts, and I guess she was surprised because they were like all her friends, and she's like, oh God, so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Like, I'm going to kill Cole for all of you. Like, so I don't know if her plan was to bring the Admiral in her current state, whether it be dead or alive, we don't know, put her into a, coffin and shoot her out into space and then go pick her up and go. Who knows? Which probably sounds pretty good if you think you can bring her back.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, because she definitely got like, she had a plan, and then seeing all of her dead friends like altered that plan quickly.
Yeah.
So we don't know what her plan was now. I'm guessing it was like kill her, put her in a coffin, chuck her out into space, or just chuck her out into space somehow and then go pick her up at the ship. But at that point you have to believe that you can bring her back to life, or you're delivering the body and saying you want to defect. Who knows? If she's dead, that's too bad, because I like the character, and it would really, I like the tension that her and Lorca were going to bring. But then again, if she is dead, that brings full circle my idea of Lorca sending her in the first place to meet the Klingons. He's like, okay, good, she's out of the picture, she's dead, they're not going to take my ship from me.
Well, yeah, I don't think he'll ever have that thought process, but I think he'll use it as a blind rage thing.
Right.
I just get to fucking go kill everything now.
Well, and that Admiral was the only one who knew everything anyways. She didn't have time to file a report about him, I don't think. So who knows? But so that's so we know that she is that Laurel is ready to enact all sorts of vengeance on Cole. And then we cut back to Pavo, because we're going back and forth real quick at the end of this episode. So Burnham's at the transmitter, and Saru and her they get into a knockdown drag out.
Yeah.
And he donkey kicks her like right in the breadbasket, man. And she goes down hard. Like he is not messing around with them hoof feet, man.
No, dude, he flat out. I don't even know what you want to like. Yeah, I guess a donkey kick is the best way to sum that up.
It was. I mean, he just turned aside, was just like bagoonk, and just donkey kicked it. It was crazy. And And then he takes 2 freaking stun blasts. Like, he takes 2 shots with a phaser on stun. This, like, I really want an episode where, like, he's not against people. Like, he's not against the people we like. I want him to go off on somebody who's a bad guy. And, like, I want him to fight a Klingon. Because that may be the sweetest fight ever. Because I kind of want...
Yeah, that could be...
And this
could be insane.
And this brings in what you said last week, is that you would love to see the predators on his planet. I would love to know what the predators on his planet look like, because if that's the prey, somebody who can crush technology, well-built technology in your bare hands and can run that fast and is that strong. I mean, he like Hulk smashes the transmitter. Like, he was just smashing that thing, just tearing it up.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, he is if we're just going athletes, like, he's already LeBron James. Like, okay, so the only person, like, you powder slapping all, man. Like, the only person you could pit that against is
young Jordan,
Michael Jordan,
right?
Young Jordan. Like, so what is the Predator? Like, I want to know what that Predator is,
right? And like I said, I think that the Predator for his planet would be worse than the Klingons. That's why I would love. I'm with you. I want to see his planet. I want to see a Predator from his planet, and I want to know if only. Like you said, it would be cool if like there was a Predator who also was in Starfleet, and then they had to like serve together during a mission.
Right? Yeah, like or like those Predators, like, because I can't imagine that if he's that advanced and can talk and do all that stuff, that the Predators are just these dumb
beasts,
right? Like who just happen to be that skilled at hunting, then,
right? Because
I feel like you should be able to just dodge them all the time,
right? Exactly. I want them to have to cast like the Big Show. For like all of the members of that race, they need to be massive people, like massive individuals.
Yeah, but they got to be massive people that can look quick.
Right.
Like, because like the Big Show, like, or they would have to do it where something like where the Big Show is the man, or like the king or something like that, and kind of like a pride, like he has people that hunt for him because he's been the biggest and baddest for so long.
Very true. Very, very true. It will be sweet. And I don't think we're going to get to that this season. But I hope it does come through either next season or as we go on with the story. I think it would be a very cool episode. It kind of writes itself.
Yeah, I feel like you just have to.
Yeah, you have to. And it needs to be some big, massive dudes. And I want.
Yeah, you can't write a prey that is like that awesome and then not introduce us to the Predator at some point.
Exactly. And in fact, I want them to introduce him like someone is facing off against a Klingon, and like Saru's in the party, and the Klingon's like standing in a doorway, kind of like when we first saw the tardigrade. I just want like the Predator to like just rip through the Klingon to show himself for the first time, and you're like, oh shit. he needs to have a reveal similar to that.
Yeah, and then Saru's sitting there, and he's all like,
No,
like
he's just gone.
Everything's going bonkers, and the other guy like comes out with his little badge on and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, chill out. We're on the same side this time."
Oh man, that just writes itself. That is the greatest. Yeah, I'm sure members of the writing crew listen to our podcast, so you're welcome. Have that.
Not only do I want to meet the Predator, right, but I want the Predator, whatever it may be, to be on the crew, like even if it's just a guest spot. Right? Like, but I want him to be in Star Trek. And I want him to be the most happiest go lucky Predator, like, ever. Like, I want him to be like a male Tilly who can just destroy. like, I just want him to be like, oh, hey man, like, like, I'm really sorry all my brothers and sisters, like, chased down your species for like hundreds of years and ate you. Like, that sucks, man. Like I want him just to be like making jokes and shit all the time.
Just like around the corner, like, boo.
yeah. Like, I just want him to do like where he just like comes walking through and everyone's like, oh, and then he like flicks the lights on. He's like, sorry guys,
my bad.
Yeah.
That just writes itself. That's fantastic. Okay, let's wrap this up. We're starting to drag this out, and I know people are like, I got places to be. I got to finish this podcast up. So after she hits him with 2 stun blasts, okay. Oh, this is the part. Okay, so much for wrapping this up real quick. So the wisps like transport Tyler next to where they are, like out of nowhere, similar to spore traveling? Like, what the fuck happened?
I don't know.
Right. Okay.
I tried to think of something, but I got no idea.
Once again, one more thing about this planet that makes completely no sense to me. And I'm like, why would you, like, he just, whoosh, there's Tyler. I'm like, were we that cut for time for the episode, guys? It's streaming. It doesn't have to be, done right in an hour. Like, you could let him run through the woods. Jesus. I mean, and so you have this random thing that just happens. It's like, what am I supposed, what? And then you're just not going to talk about it. We're just not going to talk about it. He disappeared out of the wisps, which.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in next episode they'll do something with this planet. Like after they take care of the Cleons, like they'll be like, oh hey,
right.
Give me that transporting thing that you just did.
Yeah. Yeah. So that it's just one of those random the green rock. And the forehead light. I'm like, you gonna give us anything? You gonna tell me anything?
Well, dude. Well, obviously we know the green light, the green rock is a mood ring.
Well, true.
We already solved that.
Correct. That is true. It's canon now. Okay. So Saru's telling her, you took my piece. You took my piece. You won't stop taking. Like, because it goes back to about Captain Giorgio, you won't stop taking from me. He's just so fucking butthurt all the time about this. It's like, okay, man, we get it. You hate her. I understand that. Like,
yeah, he won't let it go.
You got to let that shit go. It's been a little bit of time, bro. Like, you can't just be bringing that up every time you get into a fight with her. And then the transmitter, the transmitter cranks, it lights up. Another thing they don't really explain, but it starts resonating more. And then the Discovery gets the message. Lorca calls them and says, hey, all right, prepare to, get up here. And he beams them away. And then Saru just collapses on he didn't want to leave. He still didn't want to leave. And, on the transporter pad just collapses. And in sickbay, Saru apologizes like he should. He goes back over his backstory again, which we've talked about in previous episodes. We watched the show. I know his backstory. You don't have to go into the length that you did because it's not any more information than we already know. And when you tell us the important part, which was from the moment they're born on his planet, they feel fear. They have never not known fear their entire lives for any minute of the day until he was on Pavo and they did the forehead light thing. Then that was the first time in his entire life he ever was without fear. Yeah. And it's I don't need you to recount the backstory for me of your planet and the prey predator thing. We know that the fact that you felt fear your entire life, that's really important. And the fact that you didn't for once, you saw the real Saru, the lighthearted, good-natured guy that you don't get to see ever because he's always so cautious. So I don't know. It was sad for him. It sucked. But what are you going to do? You can't just stay there forever.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
and then that last scene on the death ship, L'Rell is explaining, explaining about the Discovery and about its stuff to Cole, and Cole scolds her for letting the prisoner try to escape. She's like, she took my blade and tried to escape, so on and so forth. And he tells her to kneel, and he quote unquote accepts her into this family. But then, as soon as he, puts his war paint on her face, he's like, this is how House Core treats liars. And then they just, take her away. And we're like, oh, shit. She's been found out. So that was definitely not part of her plan. So I'm not really sure where they're going with that. Is the Admiral dead? If she is, then I guess there is no escape plan. And now she's going to be stuck in the brig anyways, or worse. And then as she's being hauled off, the random Klingon person comes up and tells Core that they've found, or Cole, excuse me, that they are getting a message from the planet Pavo, it's being broadcast to them. And then we're back on the bridge of the Discovery, and they're like, Pavo has sent, they're not just transmitting generally, they're only sending 2 signals, one on Starfleet's, radio waves and one on the Klingons' radio waves. And they're calling both of them here. They think they're helping us by bringing us together because they want to promote peace. And they're like, let's just come together and talk. And it's like, you don't know anything. So
you don't understand what's happening.
Right. So now that the Klingons know about Pavo, the Discovery can't leave. They have to protect the planet, especially if they still think they can utilize the technology. And that's how they leave it. We have to fight. We have to fight them here and now, which makes for a pretty good, penultimate season break episode. So we know there's going to be a big battle and some craziness around Pavo. So maybe we will learn some of the things that we were asking questions about next episode, because we're not leaving the planet.
Yeah, this will be where you like see your vine move and stuff like that as the planet like grabs a Klingon and is like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Hey, no fighting, no fighting. Yeah, they're like holding him, they hold him, and they start transporting people away in their weird dusty transportation mechanism, whatever they were doing. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be explained that wasn't explained in this episode. Almost to the point where I wish it had been a double episode release. Like this had been the last week and they released both episodes at the same time. But yeah, who knows? But all around a decent episode. I felt like there were a couple plot lines and things that started in the episode that didn't really go anywhere. The whole stuff with L'Rell, is there a bigger plan? Did she know that was, is all of this part of her plan to get out, to escape? We don't know. I'm guessing getting taken away was not part of the plan, but I don't know why then even write the whole rest of that part of the episode other than to take time. If nothing comes of anything with the Admiral and L'Rell, then you've wasted 15 minutes of my show. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I think something's going to come of it.
I do. I hope so. I have high hopes, but yeah. Final thoughts, sir? Anything else sticking out in your head? Are you excited about next week?
Yeah, next week's going to be a great show, and it's going to be a great relief to not talk about American Horror Story anymore. And Star Trek, I just don't see them putting out a bad one. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm almost to the point where I'm like, dude, it's going to be good. Like, we know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, like, it's at the point now, it's like this episode was good, but was it excellent? No. Were the other ones excellent? Most of them, yeah, or damn near close to it. So it's just one of those things now with Star Trek. It's like, I'm picking on something to pick on.
Right. Right. As a fan, I'm picking on it, but still comparing it to itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we want to thank everyone who stayed on for the entire podcast. We know they're long, but we do enjoy what we talk about. We mostly enjoy American Horror Story to a certain extent. We still love the franchise itself, but this season has been a little bit rough for us. And as always, we both love the Star Trek stuff, so we appreciate anybody who stays on for all of it. We still appreciate if you only come to only the Star Trek half of it. We understand that as well. But thank you, everybody. Remember to head over to twodadsreview.com and like, share, subscribe, review, follow us on Twitter, tweet at us, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah, guys, later. Thank you for listening always. Thank you very much. Peace and love.